Hey guys, Foolhardy Jockey. Today we're going to go over the DMR rifle, and this is a voiceover, so if you guys want to see the actual video, it is in the channel. So yeah, today we're going over the DMR and my personal favorites, and just a heads up, this is my personal preference for DMRs, and if you're looking to get into the DMR area of PUBG, you guys can see which one has the most best. And just a heads up, it depends on your playstyle of which gun you're going to use. So if you're looking for more of a fast and just a faster gameplay and just running around, then you're going to want a burst fire or almost automatic DMR. But if you're more of a stealth kind of person, like to stay in one spot, then you're going to want to go for the single shots. Now let's get into this. For my personal preference, my favorite DMR would have to go to the SLR. It looks like a DMR. To me, it looks like the best. It just looks really good. It looks like a high performance gun. Now, it is not a high performance gun. It is actually probably one of the worst ones you can get, but it is very good in most cases. But if you're getting really close to people and you just need that extra oomph, the SLR is not gonna be your choice. SLR is more of a long range gun, but yeah, for capability it's gonna have to go to the SKS, just because you can have a foregrip, you can have a scope, you can have a cheek pad. Unlike the SLR, you can have a foregrip. The SLR, you can't have a foregrip, and a lot of the DMRs you can't have a foregrip. So capability, in my preference, goes to SKS. But performance-wise, the gun with the most performance would have to go to the QBU, just because a lot of people don't know this, but when you shoot the QBU and you have the right attachments, if you're using a scope, the gun goes almost exactly, after firing, it goes almost exactly the same area that you shot before. But you have to have the right attachments, like a flash hider and a cheek pad, not a suppressor and a not a cheek pad. So when you're getting accessories, always go for flash hiders or compensators instead of suppressors, because suppressors do nothing performance wise except for make sure that other people can't hear you, and especially during late game, a suppressor is almost irrelevant to have. So definitely go for a flash hider or a compensator when you're picking out accessories for later game. But let's keep going. My personal, the most popular in my perspective would have to go to the Mark 14, just because it's an airdrop weapon, and by the community it's the most loved DMR is the Mark 14. Performs great, can have a lot of accessories to it, but just doesn't have the right feel, and sometimes if you don't know what you're doing, it doesn't really work out for you. So you really have to use the gun a lot and get used to it, get used to the feeling of it, and yeah. So let's go down to the countdown. So this is the countdown of the most performance wise guns, since we just went over my personal favorites. So this is the countdown for the most performance, the best performance, and the most capability of a gun. So in 7th place, this is going to be a surprise to most of you, but it goes to the SLR. Just because it's a very loved gun, and just because it does a lot of damage. It isn't the best, because if you don't know what you're doing, you could get in some really bad situations, like I have, but I've really gotten used to the gun, so I perform very well with the gun. But with a new player, I definitely do not prefer to go for the SLR, just because the kick on it goes everywhere, and if you don't have the right attachments, the center doesn't really line up. It doesn't perform the best. Now going to the 6th place, it'd have to go to the Mark 47 Mutant. Now you can't really find this weapon everywhere. I'm pretty sure it's only in one map, but when you do find it, there's not much you can do about it. A lot of people think it's an assault rifle, which it really isn't. Just because it has burst fire, it isn't an assault rifle, and even though you can go up to really close and personal with people and you can have that speed and accuracy, it doesn't really perform the best when it comes to that stuff. But talk about the Mark 47 and people thinking it's an assault rifle, this goes to the number 5 spot, is the M16A4. Now, a lot of people also think that this is a assault rifle and they use it as an assault rifle, which it really isn't. The M16 kind of performs like an assault rifle, but it performs better as a DMR just because it has that burst or single shot capability, and it doesn't have a foregrip. You can't put a foregrip on it, so it kind of just takes away from the DMR aspect, but it does perform very well. And yeah, number 4 spot, a lot of people are going to be surprised by this, but it comes to the Mini 14. The Mini 14, a lot of people don't use, but a lot of people don't realize it's one of the most like, you can put the most stuff on it. Kind of like the SKS, you can have like foregrips and cheek pads and scopes and extended mags. Unlike the SLR or the M16A4, you cannot have, on those guns you can't have a foregrip. On the Mini 14 you can. And then when it comes to long range shots for DMR, the Mini 14 kind of just sums it up. It's pretty good. It's kind of like the SKS's. If the SKS had a little brother, it'd be the M14. Now for the 3rd spot, it has to go to the SKS just because the performance is very good and it's good all around. You can have all the attachments you want on it. You can have assault rifle attachments and sniper attachments. It's just very good all around. If you get used to the gun, you can almost be at God tier. It's just crazy how great the gun is. You can get really close and personal and single or double tap people, and then you can take those long shots with the gun. Number 2 spot goes to the Mark 14. It's an airdrop rifle, and it's an airdrop rifle for a reason. It's very powerful and has a full auto capability. That means you can get very close and personal to people, you can have that fast gameplay, and you can also take those long range shots. Now for the Mark 14, it is an airdrop rifle, so it is harder to get, but once you get it, a lot of people prefer it over any other gun. And once you get used to it, you can really own the match if you know what you're doing with the gun, but if you don't, it can be a lot more difficult. Now I've said that a lot, but it does go for like all guns. If you don't know what you're doing with the gun, it's going to be very difficult to be better at the gun. So that's just something to come in mind. Now for the number 1 spot goes to QBU. Now I know what you're saying, but it's only one match and usually it's very hard to find. Or one world or map, whatever you want to call it, and it's very hard to find. But once you get it, it is very good. It performs very well. You can have a lot of attachments to it. But yeah, it performs great. It's mostly for longer range shots and mid shots. It's not the gun you want to go like right up to someone and shoot them from a minimal distance. That's not what you want to do with this gun. But yeah, that's my number 1 spot is the QBU. And there's a lot of reasons to it. A lot of people don't really like the gun, but a lot of people really do, and it's just all around a very good gun. So yeah, that's my top from my 1 to 7th spot of the DMR. Now we're going to talk about attachments for your DMR. When you're looking for attachments, do not go for a suppressor right away. If it's the very beginning of the match, then yes, you're going to want a suppressor. But if it's towards the end of the match, you're going to want to get rid of that suppressor. Because when it comes to the end of the match, or the mid of the match, it's not about stealth, and it's not about that stuff. It's about performance and getting those shots right away. With the suppressor, a lot of the guns just cannot handle it. They go everywhere, and especially with the Mark 14, just because it's full auto, it's going to kick everywhere. And you're going to want a flash hider or compensator. I personally like the flash hider, because if you're in a night match, people can't see you very well with the flash hider because it hides the flash. And if you're in a bush or behind a tree, people can't really see that flash of the gun. That's my personal favorite. And if you come across a cheek pad, definitely take it just because it gives you that extra stability and it gives you less recoil. It's just all on better. And yeah, foregrip, stay away from the thumb and half grip. They're just absolutely worthless unless you're going to go full auto the entire time. Look for the light grip or the vertical grip. The light grip is a lot more preferred over the vertical grip, but they perform almost the exact same. So just have that in mind, that the thumb grip and the half grip are almost useless when you're using a DMR. But when you're using a light grip or a vertical grip, they can be very, very good. And in most cases, God tier. So I think I've covered everything for a DMR. Now just a reminder again, when you're using a DMR, it takes time and practice to get used to it. So if you have chosen to grab a DMR in a match and you lost right away, just know that the DMR is a very hard gun to master, and unlike an assault rifle and unlike a bolt action, they're very different from those. They are, most of them are not full auto, and the ones that are full auto don't deal as much damage as the ones that are single shot or burst. Unlike a bolt action, you can get very close to people with a DMR, but just having in mind that if you're going to have a DMR, have an SMG or an assault rifle by your side just in case if somebody rushes you, you have that second option. Now that's enough of me said. If you guys want to watch the video that's in this video, if you want to see the actual video, it's in my channel. Probably going to be a link in the description. But I hope you guys enjoy your day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.